Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to I Read the Whole Bible Every Year community. We are a community that strives to eradicate the fear and intimidation of reading God's Word. We do this by providing you with tools and resources to help you and I become more proficient readers. Welcome, everyone. Greetings. This is Elonda, and it's Thursday again. I am so happy to be here and overjoyed. Thank you so much for taking the time to join in and listening in on the word today in our reading. And actually, we're on day 133. We're going to be ending with the book of Second Kings, and I'll be reading the last two chapters, which are chapters 24 and 25. I do pray that you have enjoyed this teaching. You know, a lot of times when we sit down and read the word, we have a tendency to go to our favorite scriptures that we know. But this is truly an opportunity and a privilege to go through the whole Bible to get an understanding and get an understanding for yourself as you read along with us. I have really enjoyed Kings, the books of Kings, because I've gained so much knowledge and insight about what was going on. So it just brings me into a place of a deeper understanding and the lessons that was taught through the different kings that took reign. They were good and bad. Some that wanted to do their own thing, and then you had those that had a relationship with God and did what He wanted and followed His guidance in leading His people. And I say that to say that that's the same with us, that He's given us His kingdom dwells within us, and He has assigned us to certain tribes, just like the tribe of Israel, in our own life, in our own community, in our own family. And those who this word resonate, you know who you are. You are the great and mighty leaders, just like in the Bible, just like the Moses, David, Joseph. You are the great and mighty leader. So I just encourage you today to embrace, nourish, and step up and answer the call because you know who you are. Come out from hiding today. This is the time that God needs His great and mighty leaders to step up. To step up and lead. Everyone is not designed to lead, but you know who you are. So I ask you to just be encouraged and just take the step and say, yes, Lord, I don't know how to do this, but I know that you have called me to lead. I know that you have called me to be the Joseph of my family. So whoever that's for, like, you know, he's always coming with a kingdom nugget. Great. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the reading. Like I said, we're going to, it's Second Kings, and we're going to start with chapter 24. We will be reading from the King James Version. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him. And the Lord sent against him bands of the Chaldees, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servants the prophets. Surely at the command of the Lord came this upon Judah, to remove them out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which the Lord would not pardon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiachin his son reigned in his stead. And the king of Egypt came not again any more out of his land, for the king of Babylon had taken from the river of Egypt into the river Euphrates all that pertained to the king of Egypt. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And his mother's name was Nashutah, the daughter of Ela, Elanathan, Elanathan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father had done. At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city, and his servants did besiege it. And Jehoiachin, the king of Judah, went out of the king of Babylon, he and his mother, and his servants, and his prince, and his officer, and the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign, and he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon king of Israel had made in the temple of the Lord, as the Lord has said. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the prince, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land. And he carried away Jehoiachin to Babylon, and the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officer, and the mighty of the land. Those carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babylon. And all the men of might, even 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths 1,000, all that were strong and apt to war. Even then the king of Babylon brought captives to Babylon, and the king of Babylon made Mattaniah, his brother, king in his stead, and changed his name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah the Limnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of the Lord it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah, until he had cast them out from his presence, that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Chapter 25. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, and the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, he and all his hosts, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and they built forts against it round about. And the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land, and the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between two walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about, and the king went the way towards the plain, and the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king, and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army were scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon, to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the son of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with feathers of brass, and carried him to Babylon. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzar Adin, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard break down the wall of Jerusalem round about. Now, the rest of the people that were left in the city and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon with the remnant of the multitude did Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carry away. Did Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carry away. But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbands, and the pillars of brass that were in the house of the Lord, and the bases and the brasses that was in the house of the Lord, did the Chaldees break in pieces and carried the brass of them to Babylon, and the posts and the shovels and the snuffers and the spoons and all the vessels of brass wherewith they ministered, took them away, and the fire pans and the bowls and such things as were of gold, and of silver in silver, the captain of the guard took away. The two pillars, one C, and the bases which Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the brass of all these vessels was without weight. The height of the one pillar was 18 cubit, and the chapiter upon it was brass, and the height of the chapiter 3 cubits, and the brethren work and pomegranates upon the chapiter round about, all of brass, and like unto these had the second pillar with wreathen work. And the captain of the guard took Seraiah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the second priest, and the three keepers of the door. And out of the city he took an officer that was set over the men of war, and the 5 men of them that were in the king's presence, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, which mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land that were found in the city. And Nebuchadnezzar, captain of the guard, took these and brought them to the king of Babylon in Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them and slew them in Riblah, in the land of Hamath. So Judah was carried away out of their land. And as for the people that remained in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had left, even over them he made Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, ruler. And when all the captains of the armies, they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, there came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, even Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, and Jahan, the son of Korah, and Sarai, the son of Tamhumeth, the Nephanite, and Jesniah, the son of Maccathite, they and their men. And Gedaliah sware to them and to their men, and said unto them, Fear not to be the servant of the Chaldees. Dwell in the land, and serve the king of Babylon, and it should be well with you. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama, of the seed royal, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah, that he died, and the Jews and the Chaldees that were with him at Mizpah. And all the people, both small and great, and the captain of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldees. And it came to pass in the 7th and 13th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 7th and 12th and 20th day of the month, that Eva Marduk, king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, did lift up the head of Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, out of prison. And he spake kindly to him, and he set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments, and he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life. And his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king, a daily rate of every day, all the days of his life. And that concludes the reading for today. Once again, thank you so much for joining in. I pray that you were blessed by that word. And thank you for continuing in our community. Until next time, this is Elonda. I send God's love, his protection, and his blessings to you today. Until next time, family.